Everyone, Corrie Thorne, the spiritual healer, coming in to do the channel message for the week of, I guess this would be the last week of March. So this will be the 26th. I'm recording this on. I'm, I've been kind of in these sessions, kind of all over the place with my messages coming out and when they're coming out and how they're coming out, because there's a lot of new energy. So I would say it's almost like, so today it really feels like there's like it's almost as if it's like we're being a virgin to a new world, or we don't know how to behave ourselves. We don't know how to act in this new world, this new life is what it feels like. So it's like there's this like virginy kind of energy. It's new to us. We don't know what to do with it. And so if you notice, I'm also in a new spot. I'm sitting in a different area. I'm a little bit weirded out by this because I'm looking into a little tiny hole instead of looking at a big screen. Looking into a little camera instead of looking into like a big screen. So it's kind of really weird. So that's kind of what we feel like in the energy today. This is all new. It's like we've become a virgin to this new life and we don't know how to behave. We don't know what to do. We don't know who we are. We don't know what kind of world we're going to be living in. And so you may have noticed that a lot of readers, a lot of channels, a lot of psychic medium people did step away for a while. They took a break. They kind of had to get a breather. It feels as if we've been going through a war and then back again. And we don't get looked at as frontline, but we're always helping and working with people. So from beginning to where we are in the pandemic, and depends on where you are in the world of how you're being impacted and affected by it differently. But the energy really has. I'm in Canada and in Alberta, and I know it's had such a big impact upon us. And so when we first started this, we were all here to helping, trying to be of service to everybody, and we work with people who are often at their lowest. They're at a place of we don't even know where else to turn. We've lost a lot of loved ones during these times. We've had a lot of things happen, and a lot of loved ones having to pass over alone and not have anybody. So this whole sense of protecting humanity has sometimes taken us from not protecting humanity, but causing us to have a lot less dignity for humanity, and that's been a very big impact upon us as a human race, that we've really lost. Hold on, sorry, got to change position a little bit. We've really lost our connection to humanity in the way of our own human connection, that we've made this kind of be the new norm, that oh well, if you get to see your family on a screen, you should be just as happy or should be just as good. And that's not really the case. And so yesterday I was watching a video where on an airplane, and I don't know where the plane was coming from. I'm not sure. You'd have to go find that YouTube channel yourself. But they tried to make a child wear this mask. And this little child could not understand why they had to wear this mask. They're not into the same fear we're into, that we live in, and they don't know why you're trying to stifle them up. You're trying to cover their mouths. And so the family was being kicked off the flight because the child would not wear a mask. Well, this is what the whole flight did. They did. They all got off the plane. So when the plane would not leave without that child wearing the mask, everybody followed the family. Everybody supported the family. Everybody on that plane came together as well, everyone that you could see came together as a community. They worked together to say, this is not working. There's something not right. And that's what this channel message is today, is that we have to come together. We have to come together with the community. We have to work together. There's been this divide and this thought that as this new self, this new world, is that it's more alone, more isolated, but it's not. It's a purity. It's kind of like a return to basics. Somehow we're returning a little bit to a new in a new world. We're returning a little bit to some of the old ways as well, um, but not the old ways that are not of service to us. I mean, in the connection that we had to rely upon the people who were in our own community, like homesteading years ago. You had to go to your neighbors to get milk. If you ran out of milk, you had to ask to borrow something. You had to ask to help each other out. You bartered, you became of service to each other. And that's what we're being told, is that we really need to start being able to come to service, come together and to work together as a community, And that's what collective kind of means, is more community based, more connected, but also not allowing the divide to take us farther apart. And so, in our work and the way that we've worked through this energy, is that we became a part of the community in spirit world, in the beings, in our channel messages, is that we made a stronger bond and connection with the higher consciousness, with the light, because the fear had been so ingrained into the world, into the human essence, that we that it was hard to get people to move beyond that fear, that it's hard to see that, we will be okay when we're not okay. We're not okay and things aren't okay, and we can't pretend there's no sunshine and butterflies, but hold on to faith, we're going to be okay. And so getting the human world on board with that has been a hard kind of thing to bring forth. But out there in that world, they see things more black and white, and they don't have what I call the fillers. In my work, I call it the fillers. They don't fill up on all of the emotional connection to things. It's like, okay, well, this is happening, and this is why it's happening, because they took a story and they ran with it and made it even bigger than it needed to be. Okay, so we have these conditions that are around us that are real. But is the conditions really truly to the point that we warrant the disconnect to our fellow human? Do we become hateful to each other? Do we uh, have an agenda, a motive to create people out to be horrible people? And no, we shouldn't, right? And no, we shouldn't. And so today, the message is about the smoke and mirrors. And that's the card that comes out. And this is my deck of the Everyday Goddess Oracle. And this is Myra, and she's looking into the light. She's looking into that energy, and she's just like saying that something is smoke and mirrors. So we have a lot of energy that is smoke and mirrors around us and through us, and it's being kind of and it's through media and those places. So you may not be allowed to fully have the connections you would like to have. You may not fully be allowed, and I'm not telling people, I'm not going to be someone telling you to take your mask off. I'm just like having patience with people who cannot follow some of the things, or the energy of why. So like on that plane, that one child without a mask, and if everybody else had their mask on, what was really the problem other than control? It was about the fact that somebody set a law and a rule, and it was such a big deal to control that masses, that that family had to become the victim as a poster child to, this is what happens when you don't follow these rules, these laws that we have. But everybody else in the plane had a mask on. And if everybody else in the plane had a mask on, what was the issue to the one who didn't? Why was that such a big deal? Right? Because if the mask is so called protecting you, then who was in danger? What would it have mattered if you had to let that flight take off with that child? But that's how snowballed. So this is the card. It's the smoke and mirrors. That's how snowballed the energy has become around us. And we are new to this new life. So we are virgins in it, and we don't know how to behave. We don't know how to act. And so there's a possibility that as we grow and as we get accustomed to our energies, is that we start to gain a new perspective. We start to look at life differently. And that's everywhere in our lives. So where is it that you are that you've had to let go, you've had to surrender, and now you have to look at it in a new light. You have to look at it in a new way. Where am I affecting my own peace and happiness right now? And where am I like a virgin to my life, a newbie to my life? And so the desired reflection is that there's a desired outcome, and everything that's being of the desired outcome, a desired reflection of what so many people want the world to look like, is that what we really want is we want peace, but we're farther away from peace than ever before. What we want is community, but we're farther away from community than ever before. What we want is loyalty, a happy life. We want people to be happy and joyful, but we are as far away from that than ever before. We want to come together, but we're more segregated than ever before, because all of it is serving a purpose. And in the collective, it tries to tell us that they have community and we don't. And so our time with out there was that, you could see what a community really means and how we can be of service. What are you doing that's of the highest good? And is what you're doing today of the highest good for your tomorrow? Is what we're doing today of the highest good for our tomorrow? Will this be in alignment? Because when you look back at somebody, some of the past history experience, yes, there is a lot of things that we could have done differently, but they didn't know better. But there was some things that are strong, sturdy, held held families together or held people together as a community, and that was support. And we have a very big lack of support, of supporting each other, of um, being compassionate to each other as a whole in the world right now, and we've lost that. And that's something that is in this energy for this week's message that we need to get back, but it starts with us. And so the problem that comes up is that unseen wound is still trying to fix the past and that past experience through trying to make everyone else make your world comfortable, make you feel, and that can't be. You can't create, and people can't do everything to make your world comfortable. You have to do the healing work to be able to exist in a world that will always have things that will not align to who you are or to what you believe. And being able to be an adult, a grown up, and being able to allow to teach our children to be more tolerant and acceptable, that not everybody is going to understand you, not everybody is going to get you, but that doesn't mean that you have to destroy them. You can educate them. You can share wisdom. You can share knowledge. A kind heart is always received so much more than an angry, vicious heart that is telling someone how awful of a human being they are. And so when we go after that energy, we attack. When we're always on the attack, what unseen wound, what is happening within me? What of my past is still dictating how I'm trying to create my future? Because if that part of you is creating the future, it is not in alignment with who we need to be of the highest good. And so Thecla is the beautiful card, and she has a wound on her shoulder. She has something that's visible. So we have those visible things, and we know they're there, and we remember the experience. It is the invisible. It's what we cannot see. And so that's where having strong faith comes in, is because I spend a lot of time with the things that most of the world can't see, but I believe it to be true because all I feel from it is love. And when you feel nothing but love and you know it's love, then even if you don't agree with it, that you know that it is still of the highest good to that we gain this information, whether it's to change, whether it's to make sure we don't repeat it, whether it's to make sure we don't do it again. But the possibility of a new beginning, for us to have a new beginning, is already here. We're already in the new beginning. We're already in the beginning, but we are in the beginning stages of everything. And so, because we're in the beginning of stages of all the new, it's now an opportunity before we go too far, before we get any farther. We can now make the changes that we need to make. So, what changes do you need to make into your life today that can bring you into the highest, to live in the best life that you want to live in your future or that you would like to see happening in your future? What will bring us to the most joy, the most happiness? And that means we're going to have to raise our vibration. We're going to have to start thinking a little bit differently and looking a little bit. And that's the message of the week. And I hope that somehow resonates with you. Much love. And I will see you all next week. Bye.